Welcome to Cue the Real, the podcast to get unstuck and manifest the life that's calling you. I'm your host, Lindsay Brand, a military veteran who built success in the private sector until the universe guided me to something deeper, helping people move from stuck to fully aligned through manifestation. I blend neuroscience, personal stories, and the most practical tools to shine a light on what's holding you back so you can manifest the life you truly want. Hey friends, welcome and welcome back. I want to start with a scene you might recognize even if you've never been there. There's a stretch of road I drive all the time, and along it is this small hillside filled with azalea bushes. In winter, it looks completely lifeless. No leaves, no color, just thin branches reaching out of frozen ground. Someone still comes through and keeps the area tidy, but if you didn't know better, you'd assume nothing good ever grows there. But every year, the same thing happens. Spring arrives. One morning you come around that bend and the entire hillside has exploded into color. Pink and coral everywhere. Blooms so thick they spill outward, petals catching the light. It's impossible to ignore. It's beautiful in a way that almost feels unfair compared to how dead it looked weeks before. And every time, the same thought occurs to me. How did I forget this was coming? All winter, we trust what we can't see. The bushes look dead, but we don't panic. We don't dig up the roots. We move on with our lives because somewhere inside us, we remember the pattern. We've seen this cycle before. The work is happening underground, quietly, unseen, without our supervision. Waiting feels different. Waiting stares at the bare branches but can't stop asking, what if this time nothing happens? Trust, on the other hand, remembers last spring. It doesn't need proof today. That's what this episode is about. Because most people aren't blocked from manifestation. They're stuck in waiting mode. Watching, measuring, wondering. But when you shift into trust, something changes. You stop chasing outcomes and life starts moving toward you instead. If this feels personal, good. It's meant to. Because if you're in a winter season right now, if your work feels fruitless and your dream looks like nothing but bare ground, this isn't the end of the story. It's the part right before everything changes. Today, we're going to talk about how to stop waiting and start trusting so your next manifestation feels inevitable. Let's cue the real. So, you felt the pull. You know what you want. You can sense where life is pointing you. But nothing obvious has changed yet. The outside world looks dead. No fireworks, no dramatic signs, just days that look a lot like the ones before. That's when the questions start coming up. Why isn't anything happening yet? Did I imagine that knowing? What if I read the whole thing wrong? This is the waiting phase, and it's harder to make it through than people expect. Because waiting isn't passive. It puts pressure on the situation. It stretches your patience. It magnifies every pause. It puts you face to face with your expectations and your fear at the same time. Most people assume this phase means they're stuck, but it doesn't. Right here, your attention sharpens. Your emotional patterns rise to the surface. You start noticing how quickly your mind wants proof, some reassurance, and mostly control. This awareness is preparation. This is where trust becomes real. Not trust as an idea, trust as an action. How you move through your days, how you speak to yourself when nothing seems to be changing. How much you hold the energy versus how much you let life carry you forward. Because what you do here determines what comes next. You can get caught up in watching and waiting, scanning for signs, holding back every time things don't appear on your schedule. Or you can remember other times when life surprised you after stretches like this. Other moments when things aligned perfectly on their own. That memory steadies you. It keeps you moving forward with confidence without needing proof. Let's linger here just a second longer with that hillside. Picture it. February, cold pressing in, the branches looking so brittle they might snap if you breathed on them wrong. Everything stripped back to the bone. No hint of pink, no suggestion of what's coming. If I handed you a shovel right then and said, come on, dig it up, make the flowers show up early, let's make sure things are happening down there, you'd probably look at me like I'd lost my mind. Because doing that would only destroy the miracle already unfolding down there where no one can see. That's what waiting feels like when it turns frantic, right? We get this restless urge to do something, anything to speed it along. We poke, prod, and question if the seed we planted was even the right kind. And all the while, the real magic is happening in the dark, patient soil of our own lives. But trust? Trust is different. Trust is the version of you that walks by those same bare branches and smiles a little inside. Not because you're pretending it isn't winter, but because you've lived enough springs to know the color always finds its way back. You don't need to see the buds swelling yet to feel that certainty. You've seen this movie. You know the ending. And I know exactly what's going on in your mind right now, that doubt that you're feeling. But what if this time is different? What if the pull I felt was just my imagination running wild? What if nothing ever blooms for me? I hear you. I've stood on that same frozen ground, staring at my own empty patches. The stalled projects, the silent inbox, the connection that felt so close and then vanished. The voice gets loud, saying things like, you're fooling yourself, nothing's happening. But here's the part that always keeps my vibration steady. Every single beautiful thing that's ever arrived in my life showed up after a stretch that looked exactly like this. Not on my perfect timeline, not when I quote unquote earned it with enough striving. It came when the ground had thawed just enough and when I had stopped gripping so hard I strangled the possibility. So try this with me right now, wherever you are. If you're in a safe place, close your eyes for a second if you can. Take a nice, slow breath. Ask yourself, what would today look like if I already knew it was done? If I knew deep in my bones that the love, the breakthrough, the clarity, the next chapter was already on its way, wrapped in perfect timing, what would change for me? Would you walk differently? Would you let yourself laugh at something silly without the guilt of, oh, I shouldn't be happy yet? Would you treat your body, your home, your dreams like they're sacred because they're holding something extraordinary? That's trust. Not as a pretty quote on a mug, but how you actually live when no one's watching. It's you choosing to water the vision with calm certainty instead of doubt. It's remembering that the universe isn't forgetful or cruel. It's precise. It waits until you're ready to receive without crumbling under the weight of it. The delay of it all isn't denial. It's devotion. It's the season protecting you until you're strong enough to hold the bloom without crushing it. You are in the silence right before the explosion of color. And when it comes, friends, it will. It won't feel like a random gift from a distant universe. It'll feel like the most natural thing in the world, like remembering who you were always meant to be. So breathe with me here, in this exact season, exactly as it is. That hillside is about to light up again. And you're going to be standing right there thinking, of course, I knew it all along. Trust shows up in ordinary ways, in how you move when nothing is confirming your progress yet. It's choosing to live like your life is already in motion, even while the results are still forming out of you. That choice creates momentum before anything visible response. So here's the practice for when doubt bangs down the door, because it will. Give your life what I call signals of certainty. You follow through on what matters to you. You speak to yourself with respect when your mind starts spiraling and feeling fearful. You care for your time, your space, your energy, because you understand they're holding something meaningful. This is how trust builds. It's just like those azalea bushes. Nothing above ground changes for a long time, but the roots are busy expanding, anchoring, preparing to hold more than they ever have before. At a certain point, you stop feeling like you're watching your future from the outside. You feel accompanied by it. There's a steadiness that settles in. You're no longer waiting for permission to believe in yourself. You're already living from that belief. And this is where paths divide. Some people keep scanning for reassurance. Others stay rooted in who they're becoming and keep moving forward. Those choices shape very different outcomes. If you're here listening, you're already choosing presence over pressure. That pull you felt earlier was precise. It showed up because something ahead of you is real and reachable. Trust is how you continue toward it. So here's where I'll leave you today. You don't need to check the ground again. You don't need to replay the questions. You don't need to manage the timing. The work you've done already counts. The trust you've practiced matters. What's forming has its own intelligence. Your only role now is to keep sending those signals of certainty through how you live, through how you care for yourself, through how you keep showing up as someone who knows the season they're in and respects it. Nothing about this moment you're in is wasted. And one day, sooner than your mind expects, you'll look around and realize the change feels obvious, natural. You'll remember this season and smile because you didn't wait it out. You trusted that the universe always had your back. Until next time.